All right, 8th graders, lesson 84, selecting an appropriate rational number. And they show you an example. They've got a tax rate that is 7%. And how much money is 7% of 1260? And another one, they say they've got 33 1/3%. And that is of 1260. So they're asking us, what should we convert these numbers to that would be appropriate for the situation to help us in figuring out calculating these two. And what they recommend here for this one is convert it to 0.07 and then calculate it. Paper and pencil, calculator, it wouldn't matter. Here we know 33 1/3 reduces to 1/3, so we could multiply by 1/3 and figure out what 1/3 of 1260 would be. So appropriately changing these rational numbers to figure out exactly what we should be using to solve this equation is what the point of it is here. Example 1 gives us a couple here. We've got an A. They say, how much is 40% of a half of 1260? So 40% of a half of 1260. Well, in this type of situation, I like to work it backwards. Okay. And do some converting. We could convert and say this is 0.4 and a half is 0.5, and 0.4 and the word of again is multiplication. 0.4 times 0.5, that make 4 times 5 is 20, and I'd have two decimal numbers, so I got to put a decimal there. Times 1260, or 1/5 of 1260. I can multiply those and get the answer $2.52. Some of you might look back up here and go, well, why don't I do half of 1260, which would be 630, and then 4/10 of that, or 40%. You could do that as well. Alright, then for B here, okay, you get a little bit trickier, 66 2/3% of 5/6 of the 1260. Well, 66 2/3, I know that's 2/3, times 5/6 times 1260. And again, I can multiply. I can reduce this here to 1/3, so I'll have 5/9 times 1260. Okay. I could reduce that on paper. Go ahead and solve that. Let's see. First of all, 9 would. I could reduce this to 140. 9 will go into there 14 times. So 5 times 140. On my calculator here, that'll give me $7. So in both of those, what you're looking at is, in this one we decided to go with decimals. Or here we decided to go with fractions. There's not really a right or wrong way. What we're saying is there's an easier way sometimes, but not necessarily right or wrong. You could have used this method up here if you wanted. It wouldn't matter. You should come up with the same answer. It's just that some might be easier for us. Alright, in example 2, we've got a public opinion survey. 180 of the 280 women surveyed agreed or strongly agree with the mayor, while 150 of the 275 men surveyed agree or strongly agree with the mayor. Which choice listed below is the most appropriate way to describe the results of the survey? Well, if we look at A, we've got 9/14 of the women and 6/11 of the men. And in B, we got 0.643 and 0.545. And then in C, we've got 64% of the women and 55% of the men. So which one of these is the best choice? Well, here we've got different denominators. That makes it very difficult to compare. Would not be well received by most people. So I'm going to say that A is out. B, we've got decimals, and those are numbers that we can compare. But again, we know people have trouble with decimal numbers. And again, it's not a real common comparison tool, so that might be going to be out. C, we've got percents. Again, the numbers are exactly related to these decimals above them, but this is what people are used to seeing in the news and newspapers and hearing, so it would probably be the best choice. So I'm going to say the correct answer here is C, based on the fact that people are used to percentages, and it's easy for us to look at them and see, more women support the mayor than men support the mayor, whereas up here that was difficult. And here, for non-mathematicians or people who aren't working in math every day, this is not the best way either. All right, that's it, 8th graders. You can get started on your practice set.